As modern era evolves, so does its wording in books. So many different genres are present in the modern day that each have their own specific purpose. One genre that wants to get readers to prevent mishaps from happening that are displayed in its books is dystopian fiction. Dystopian fiction is a genre of fiction used to explore social and political issues in a futuristic, imaginative way that is created by oppressive societal control such as corporate, bureaucratic, moral, technological, or totalitarian. A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess is a dystopian fiction that displays the story of Alex, who is first introduced as a merciless criminal that has possibly committed any crime that exists. Being betrayed by his gang, Alex is placed into a prison for 14 years. In prison, he is the victim of a new treatment that psychologically conditions criminals and makes them incapable of violence. Through the success of this treatment, Alex is released from prison as a defenseless man who is incapable of making any wrong choices and standing up for himself. Due to this, his previous victims and enemies take revenge on him, leading to him attempting suicide. His unsuccessful attempt and the stir in media leads to the government being compelled to change Alex back to his old self. The novel ends with Alex becoming aware of his need to lead a normal life. A Clockwork Orange is presented to be one of the first novels in history that uses technological advancements to present a dystopian fiction genre. With a twisted understanding presented of good and evil, A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess displays an excellent example of a dystopian fiction genre. This is shown through the totalitarianism of the government, the use of technology to condition criminals, and Alex's oppressive nature towards government laws. Dystopia is derived from the ancient Greek word dys and topia, meaning bad place. The origin of dystopian fiction can be traced as back to the United Kingdom in the early 1500s with Thomas More's Utopia. Despite its title, the novel displays a dystopian society caused by human beings. Books such as Mundus Alter et Idem by Joseph Hall, The Iron Heel by Jack London, and Lord of the Flies by William Golding are yet other examples of novels which display a dystopian society that is created by humans. Since then, dystopian fiction has evolved much to show how rather than humans, the overpowering of technological advances is the cause of the crumbling society. These new advancements in the genre were mostly written by authors from the United Kingdom. Books such as 1984 by George Orwell, The Time Machine by H. G. Wells, and Brave New World by Aldous Huxley are one of the earliest examples of this new element that has been portrayed in dystopian novels. Dystopian fiction has evolved to be a genre that is very popular in young adults with books such as The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins and also the Divergent trilogy by Veronica Roth being ones that are claimed as bestsellers. A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess brings forward the technological and totalitarian aspect of this genre. Through this novel, a clash is shown between a totalitarian society and a lawless protagonist who display the opposing views of societal control through a libertarian and an authoritarian perspective. Being one of the earliest books written with technological advancements, A Clockwork Orange displays the treatment in which technology helps condition criminals into law-abiding citizens. It successfully portrays elements that are commonly used in a dystopian novel. Key aspects of this genre include propaganda, worship figurehead or concept, fear, dehumanized state, totalitarianism, illusion of a perfect utopian world, oppressive nature, and also the use of technological advancements. Key elements that are displayed in A Clockwork Orange are totalitarianism by the government, the use of technology for psychological conditioning, and the dystopian protagonist's oppressive nature towards government control. The first element that is found in A Clockwork Orange is the totalitarianism that is shown by the government. In a totalitarianism world, every night was what they called a broadcast, meaning that the same program was being videoed by everybody. The society that is displayed in this novel is shown to be one that lives under absolute government control, where everything from jobs to what is viewed on the television is decided by the government. Things that could not be controlled became laws that everyone had to abide, such as there being this law for everybody, not a child, nor with child, nor ill, to go rabbiting. This law meant that no matter if you had a child, if you were ill, or if you had urgent work, every citizen must go to work at their assigned workplace without excuse. Through Alex, who is the dystopian protagonist in this novel, readers are displayed how the totalitarian behavior displayed by the government is the cause of the flawed and crumbling society that he lives in. The general public has no say in what they desire and are constantly the victims of new government experiments that are placed in order to create the ideal society. This is proven when Alex is forced to being Biddy, his glazies being clipped open, his nagas and plot fixed to the chair. During his treatment period in jail, Alex was constantly forced to watch movies with high amounts of violence while his body was strapped onto a chair and his eyelids were clipped open. It is evident through this that A Clockwork Orange effectively displays a key element of dystopian fiction, which is totalitarianism. Another element that can be found in A Clockwork Orange is of the technological advancements that are shown to be used by the government in order to psychologically condition criminals into law-abiding citizens. The name of this treatment is Ludovico's technique and is a process of eliminating all traces of violence and objects associated with violence from a criminal's life. It is a behavioral conditioning technique that will help to shore up state power. Alex was the first to be experimented on this treatment in exchange of being released from jail in 2 weeks rather than 10 years. According to the government and doctors, Alex is being made sane. He is being made healthy. His treatment included first getting an injection, which would make him nauseous, and then watching movies with high amounts of violence multiple times of the day while having wires attached to his body and head to track his behavior and brain activity. Through the movies and technology, Alex sees how horrifying violence is, and this leads to him getting very upset and sick. He becomes ill at even the thought of violence and is morally incapable of making the right decisions for himself. It comes to show how he has no real choice, has he? Self-interest, fear of physical pain, drove him to that grotesque act of self-abasement. Its insincerity was clearly to be seen. He ceases to be a wrongdoer. He ceases also to be a creature capable of moral choice. Through the use of movies and technology, it is evident that A Clockwork Orange effectively displays the technology aspect of dystopian fiction. Lastly, the third element of dystopian fiction that is present in A Clockwork Orange is of the dystopian protagonist's oppressive nature. Alex is the dystopian protagonist of this novel, and is continuously shown to have a rebellious approach to the rules that are laid out by the government for the state and public. Not only this, he is the opposite of what society considers to factor youth violence. Due to his sadistic and rebellious nature, he is shown to often ignore state rules, leading to him getting jailed for it. Getting out of jail, Alex did deal with a lot of past enemies who abused him, and due to his treatment, he could not fight back. He felt like a Clockwork Orange. He felt like a wind-up toy that could be used by anyone for their own personal benefit. Being angered by the harsh treatment he was suffering, he decided to team up with F. Alexander, who was a socialist that was fighting against the totalitarian behavior of the government. Alexander helped make Alex seem like a poor Malchik who was reading about his sufferings and how the government had sapped his will. Alex believed that this would be the ultimate revenge against the cruel government who made him suffer so much. Through this, A Clockwork Orange effectively displays the dystopian protagonist's oppressive view element of a dystopian fiction genre. Dystopian fiction is not only seen in the past, but is seen throughout all the generations and will continue to be a popular genre in the future. One such example of dystopian fiction in culture today is the famous series of The Maze Runner by James Dashner. The Maze Runner is an exceptional series of novels that focuses a lot on the government control aspect of the dystopian fiction genre. It revolves around a group of teenagers who are used as subjects by the government and are compelled to be put in a lab where their memories are wiped out and are left with no identity. Due to them being the only humans alive, and to save the Earth from extinction, they are individually placed into a maze one by one with a certain amount of food and are left to survive with the rest of the teenagers who have already been placed there. The goal is to find the most intelligent group of teenagers who could save humanity. This is all due to the strict government control that compelled them to be a part of this experiment in order to save the world. This can be related back to the totalitarian and government control element of the dystopian fiction genre. It also can be related to modern culture, as many different countries have governments which compel its citizens to be placed into concentration camps and deal with harsh living conditions with limited to no supplies. This is similar to the type of condition that the teenagers in The Maze Runner had to deal with. Dystopian fiction is not only reflected through books, but is also shown through movies such as the blockbuster Divergent trilogy by Veronica Roth. The Divergent series focuses on the life of Beatrice Pryor, who with her family lives in a government-led system of factions. Each faction stands for a different trait that is valued within that faction. Beatrice lives in the faction of abnegation, which means the selfless. At the age of 16, she and all other 16-year-olds are to choose a faction that they want to live in for the rest of their lives, which means that they either stay in the same faction or become members of a new one. Each faction's traits are the morals that the citizens of that faction live according to and confine to. While Beatrice chooses Dauntless, which stands for the fearless, her brother becomes a part of Erudite, who are the intelligent. At her new faction, she learns that she is a special human called Divergent, meaning that she cannot be confined to one faction and is most likely to rebel. Being a risk to law and order in society, the governments are in hunt of diversions so that they can kill them and peace is maintained between all the factions. Finding out about this cruel plan, Trish alongside her mom and other diversions decide to oppress against this plan and the government. This movie trilogy is an excellent example of a dystopian protagonist's oppressive nature towards government control, which is an important element of dystopian fiction. It relates to modern culture as it displays people standing up for their rights and for freedom. It also displays a feminist approach as in the movie, Beatrice, who is the female, is the one who creates a movement for change and that is displayed in culture today as many women are learning to stand up for themselves and their rights. Another example of dystopian fiction and its different elements can be shown through the very popular television show Black Mirror. It is a rework of The Twilight Zone and focuses on the dark side of the internet and technology as a whole. Every episode has its own plot and focuses on different aspects of technology. For example, the second episode of the show focuses on the far future where everything is fake and commercial. All humans are trapped in this commercial world and must find ways to escape it. This episode was made to display the negative effects of online advertising and the internet in general. The show is an excellent illustration of the technology element of a dystopian fiction. Black Mirror also relates to modern culture as it teaches its viewers the dangers of an online world and warns them to take precautions while using the internet. Lastly, another way that dystopian fiction has been displayed in modern culture is by songs, like Born Free by MIA. The song Born Free by MIA focuses a lot on the discrimination that her and her family had to face during the genocide period in Sri Lanka and that was caused by its government. This is yet another example of government control which is an important element of dystopian fiction. It also relates to modern culture as many people were a part of this genocide and dealt with the same totalitarian behavior that MIA and her family dealt with and faced. In conclusion, A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess is an exceptional novel and one of the first novels in history to bring out the technological aspect of dystopian fiction. Through the different elements of totalitarianism, technology, and oppressive nature of the dystopian protagonist, it is evident that A Clockwork Orange is a novel that comes from the dystopian fiction genre. Bringing in the new element of technology to the genre, Burgess has helped inspired so many modern-day fictional movies, novels, television shows, and will continue to inspire the future generations to explore the many different elements of a dystopian fiction genre. Thank you.